I have a question. So the songs you sang and the videos you saw that glorified destruction, those were during basic training?
The videos were basic training, and then the song, it's just kind of a typical military cadence.
I wondered if there's been a difference or a shift in how that's approached over different wars, so maybe you have a comment too. Because I could understand focusing on the enemy and vilifying them, but glorifying the violence seems different than that. So has military tactics shifted over time, or was it always like that?
Oh, I think it's probably worse for these guys than it was for us. But people should not underestimate. This is not gearing you up for battle. This is dehumanizing a whole population.
Right.
And one of the key ways they do it, and they keep people in line, is through not just portraying that song that he sang,
yeah,
but also the real vicious dehumanization of women. Part of the way they keep you in line, and especially the males, is to constantly portray women, and through the songs and through the thing, the weakness. They compare being a woman, and they use all this different language to weakness, and that is a key part of the control mechanism, and it's part of it's part of the framework of how. And you can go all the way back to the Philippines in 110 years ago, and you can study how the troops were trained and ideologized. And this only gets worse war after war after war. Part of the reason it gets worse is they have a harder job controlling the troops, right? And so, but one of the things that I think is really important when he talks about most of the people didn't feel this way, then the question is what keeps them in control? And if we don't have an anti-war movement in this country that is in the streets and that is vibrant and strong and saying no to this stuff, then one of the places the GIs would look to for strength isn't there. They can't point to an anti-war movement back in the States that's having demonstrations and is really, but that's one of the places you would get strength from, aside from people like yourself in the midst of the GIs, challenging them strongly. You know what I mean? That we're doing the wrong thing here. And other GIs are always in the best position to do that. So,
yeah.
But I do think it's worse. And maybe you can talk about the drugs over in Iraq and how the military uses psychotropic drugs to keep the troops in line. Antidepressants. And have you had any experience with that?
There was definitely a lot of the antidepressants, and some people would be on, pills to keep them going during the day and switch to pills to shut them off and go to sleep at night.
This is dispensed by the military, right? I mean, think about how serious that they have. They didn't give us drugs in Vietnam, but they're giving these guys drugs.
They didn't use Agent Orange on you in Vietnam?
Well, that's not a drug. That was a chemical defoliant. But they're giving these guys drugs to control them. Keep them going out. Let other people talk. Yeah.
My brother, her son, we're trying to figure out how the hell do we get him onto the path of healing, and we're sort of kind of waiting for a breakdown to happen. We see elements of, him starting to deconstruct, this experience of his and trying to come back into society. We have no idea what to do. I mean, because we don't understand what he's been through. No concept at all. And we really want to support him so that he can be in a healthier place. I don't know if you have any advice or you're hip to any suggestions.
I just know that sometimes the best answer can be just being a good listener, and he's probably gonna interpret a lot of stuff if you just kind of preach at him or whatever, that you can't understand what he's been through, but if he's able to kind of let that out and get to a point where that he feels like you have given him your ear and that you have listened to him, that maybe from there, once he's kind of brought out and thought through and just kind of struggled within himself and had people supportive around him as he's struggled through that with everything he's been wrestling with. Then from there, then he can start to build and, just offering, I guess.
Would you advocate professional help?
I guess it depends how intense it is, but I wouldn't put it. Yeah, there have been friends of mine where I've gotten to the point where I've tried to offer the best advice I can give them, and I've tried to listen to them all I could, but I only can say and do so much, and it'd be nice to have a psychology degree or whatever, but there's some stuff that I just don't know, and I've said, you really probably should talk to somebody, and even that, sometimes they'll go and they'll talk to somebody who is professionally trained, and they'll listen to them, and then they can even realize that they're right and just not decide to make the change, and sometimes they'll listen and it'll be another couple months or years down the road, and sometimes they might change right away. Some things just take time.
How did you find somebody to talk to when you were going through the change? It must have been a hard, lonely situation.
I guess parts of it, people didn't always agree with some of the decisions I made based on just the idea that we need to make it back, and some of the things that I said I wasn't going to do or didn't do. People were very critical of that because they thought I was putting them in danger. So for some time, I guess I always had, like my friend that I was telling you about who needed help later on, he was definitely always there, and we'd go to the hookah shop back on base and just kind of sit there and smoke hookah and talk for 3 hours and just talk and just kind of get everything out. And we didn't always have answers, but at least we felt like we could kind of work through things.
Do you notice a difference between how the police and the military react at protests here than you guys reacted to the peaceful protesters in Iraq?
I'm actually fairly new to the peace movement, so I haven't, I guess, been to a real protest yet, so I can't say. But, alright, is that it? Alright, thank you guys for listening.